This is Chris Hansen.
Chad doing Rip City Radio here.
It's your favorite basketball player, Tyler Hansbrough.
This is Jamie Hudson.
This is TJ Houshmandzadeh.
And I'm going to let y'all know something.
Duke sucks and Duke will always suck.
You're listening to
It Just Makes Sense.
It just makes sense.
We are
society, the
sports.
generation
We are
we're in with
nostalgia.
social
We are
media.
pop culture. And we're funny
Gains more
sometimes.
hate for
I think
somebody
overall
like
we're
LeBron.
just a good time.
They thought we couldn't do it. But guess what?
We're back.
Podcasts are free, and we can do whatever the hell we want.
Yeah.
We never knew what we were doing in the first place.
Yeah, that is a good point.
If Jordan had social media,
Baseball,
Jordan's
you
a
know how many
fucking
people
asshole.
would've-
Same thing that happened with Jordan, same thing that happened with Kobe is the same thing that's going to happen with LeBron. You are not going to appreciate any of these guys until they are done playing.
You're running two strategies at the same time. Kind of a two quarterbacks, no quarterbacks controversy, but then you gave one of them $180 million.
The second that Kirk Cousins doesn't live up to expectations, they're going to be chanting penis, penis, penis.
And who are we
Speaking of
to
losing,
call people out on losing bets, okay? We suck at betting.
And remember, don't be afraid to fade yourself.
You asked for a level. I started at the top.
oh my god,
Okay, poop.
it's so loud. It's loud every time.
I've been
We're
popping
just trying to get
champagne
levels.
all night. Ain't worried about a damn
Like
thing.
Avicii, we're
That's
trying to
right.
get those levels.
Yeah, I'm on my level. Yeah, I'm on my level. Yeah, I'm on my level. Yeah.
Make sure you
I
make
take one
room
shot.
for Jordan having a
Don't
problem with
blame.
Caitlin Clark.
Taking
Apparently,
two
that's the thing
more
we're going to talk
shots.
about.
I'm
tonight.
going in, yeah,
I'm on my level. Yeah, I'm on my level. Yeah.
See, now I don't even know what you're on. Can you talk again?
Early in the
Fuck
night.
your levels.
All right, cool. Cool.
1 pound fish.
We decided to test the theory of how many people we could fit on our couch. We've added one more, and we will add one more every week until we are recognized by who? Until someone recognizes us.
Mark Cuban.
Mark Cuban. Okay.
Yeah. Welcome to the shark pit, Mark Cuban.
Investors, possibly you. There you go. That's how it goes.
Be pleasant.
Be pleasant.
I'm just checking on my bets.
How are those going?
Yes, this is a gambling podcast.
Let me tell you about how I put like $20 on the Suns in Game 3 to win at home. That did not go so well for me.
Kevin Durant just not getting it. I'm sure that's a topic that you have.
It's on there.
Teed
It's
up.
on there. It's on there. But
You gonna
first,
shit on KD?
I mean, he just got swept.
shit on himself.
He just got
It's not
swept.
an individual sport.
Poops his pants.
Can't make it work with Devin Booker and Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
You get swept. Damian Lillard had no All-Stars.
Get
and people
swept
give-
one time. Get swept
KD
one
didn't get
time.
bailed out by Daddy Steph. We know you're a fanboy of his shoes, Miguel.
KD shoes? Oh,
No.
he's not wearing them tonight, but
I'm not against making fun of him, but to bring up Dame in comparison is a joke.
How? Dame led
I'm
a
sure
team
we'll
to the
get to
Western
that.
Conference Finals.
Mr. Super Team. I know we need to talk about the concert that I went to, the Grayscale.
Do we?
No, we don't.
Well, it was Small Pools, not Grayscale.
Well, it was
Small
Gray-
Pools is known.
How does Jordan know your concert better than
Because
you?
they
He
were
had a
in
friend.
FIFA 2K14.
Yeah, that's true.
Duh.
They
2014.
were Small
2K.
Pools was like a double headliner, but like Small Pools had a little bit more time.
They have that song that
And they were
goes,
the last
that
people.
little piano goes. "Do-do-do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do."
Yeah,
play
they're
that.
very
Play that
synthy.
for the listeners.
They're very synthy. It was like walking into like a 80s or 90s type of concert. They were very, very throwbacky. But Grayscale was very
no heroin.
Yeah. Well, that we know of. Then I went with Austin and Naoko. I've stolen your friends. I've commandeered your friends, Braxton. And
Typical colonizer. Colonizer Pete.
They called me afterwards and they were like, "Hey, Can you
Please
grab
don't.
Pete's phone and delete our numbers?
Yeah, we are literally going out of the country to be as far away from him as
Yeah,
possible.
we're moving to Japan.
Yeah.
Peter Selkachevitz.
Yeah, that would be. But anyways, great concert. Anyways, I'm glad
glad.
you guys asked. Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
Because of my shirt, grayscale. Look them up.
You bought merch?
I did. I got some merch.
Are they from
What'd they
Philly?
get you for? $35?
$35 for
Are they
a.
from Motown,
Classic
Philly?
merch cost.
Yeah, it really is.
Not
right
even
there.
trying to be different.
He's a merch man.
He's a merch man.
Could have gone $37.50.
Yeah.
Mr.
Change it up.
Merchman.
I am happy that you guys are all alive. I know that I made a very ill-timed
What?
heart attack. I swear this is going somewhere. Heart attack joke to you, Braxton. I wanted to talk about how the fact I think that one of my neighbors is dead.
Current neighbors?
Current neighbors, the one straight ahead. This one over here.
Let's go knock on their door.
Their names are Nate and Nora. Don't know their last names, but I think that Nora might be dead.
Nobody knows more about their neighbor's business than you. In my circle.
Than a white person in suburbia.
Like I've lived in my house for almost 2 years.
does
I've
Nate
talked to
look
2
like?
people.
I actually haven't met Nate. I've only met Nora.
Nate's a cuck.
And maybe he got.
That's probably why Nora's faking her own death.
Maybe.
Ever heard of Gone Girl?
Here is my only
Don't
evidence.
say their name too loud. They're right there.
I need to know if Nora's alive, and here's my only piece of evidence as to why I
Was
think
there an ambulance?
no.
Could she be
You
getting
think
raped?
it's a murder?
I think it might be a murder and a cover-up.
Okay.
And I feel like
This is the kind of
Nora,
neighborhood it would happen
no
in.
joke, Nora left us an Easter egg because I have seen Nate come in and out of the house, but he drives his car into the garage. He never goes in through the front door. And I have not seen Nora since
I have never heard of that before.
That's very rare.
Hold on.
No
Hold
fucking.
on.
Is that Nate?
Nate! We wouldn't see him. He would drive straight in. He always drives very quickly into there, and then he closes the garage door.
Well, before you continue, Easter egg is a sign for help me.
Okay, sure.
Look.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly what his things.
It's like the pineapple in cruises.
So here's my one piece of evidence as to why I believe Nora might be dead. There has been a bag of Wingstop DoorDash on their front porch with her first name on it since like Friday.
Still today?
Still today,
Jordan,
when you go up,
go
when
get
you go when you
it.
go upstairs and you see through these windows, there is Nora's bag of Wingstop. And you might think, oh, well, we were so drunk and we ordered it or whatever, you forgot. But we're working on 4 days here.
How old are these folks?
They're a little younger than us.
Really?
They'd probably be like, yeah, they're renters. They rent that house. We're sandwiched in between 2 renters.
The way you say
Are you sure it
renters
has
is
her-
very
are you sure it has
condescending.
her
No,
name-
it's not.
are you
No,
sure
no,
it has
no.
her name on it?
It has her
Did
name
you get the
on it.
Binocs out?
Literally, we
I
are
fucking
very
love
close.
the word binocs.
We are
Binoculars.
very-
Binocs is just awesome.
We are
Yes.
very close to one another.
Okay, can we?
You know I mean business when I say Binocs.
Jordan? Can you go get it?
It's 5-day-old.
I'm
Wingstop.
hungry.
And I
in
would
the
have thought
oven.
that the raccoons would have gotten it by now, but
There's
they.
no raccoons in Laco.
Yes, there are. There are
banned.
trash pandas. You were
They're
not
too
even
poor.
listening to your
We
own
don't use those kind of slurs.
Jesus Christ, Jordan.
That's what happens when you move into the burbs like this.
By the way, Braxton, I got an excellent view of your hideous license plate, and I must say it looks awesome on that piece of junk car you got.
His Utah.
Thank you so much.
But
no,
you-
the
His
Oregon Ducks.
plates
Oh yeah.
that he
that's
bragged
true.
about very liberally.
Don't you drive a Honda Fit?
I was just talking shit because
with stickers
hey, a
on it.
Honda Fit will keep running.
That
has
thing
been-
paid off.
almost.
Yeah, there you go. No, but
I'm
you
not trying
guys
to pay it off too quick. I'm trying
That's
to let
true.
that
Build
help
that
my
credit
credit
up.
score.
Yeah, exactly.
Credit score's at an all-time high.
Stop jerking your microphone off, Miguel.
Braxton's license plate says, "I love Bo Nix. I heart Bo Nix."
Big Bronco guy.
Yeah, big Bronco guy here coming up. We'll talk about that in a
Hot
moment.
draft talk.
But you guys have actually had someone die. One of your neighbors. Multiple neighbors dying. So you know.
I hurt my wrist, Michelle.
Your hurt. Your
Yeah.
wrist, Michelle, is very hurt her everything. now,
Miguel
she
has
said.
also murdered multiple people.
So I am
So
curious.
the draft.
No, not yet. I'm curious. I need to know whether or not that this is like Disturbia, Shia LaBeouf, underrated
think
movie,
this
by
is-
the way.
So you obviously know their names.
Yes, I do.
How did you figure out their names?
I met Nora when we moved in. She was in the backyard.
Okay.
She was sunbathing.
Oh,
Reading a
little
book.
peeping Tom. huh?
Very Shia LaBeouf of me,
Pete and
right?
Tom.
Sounds. Am I just reciting the entire plot of Disturbia right
You
now?
might be.
I'm not under
might
house
be.
arrest right now.
You're about to be. I think it's a pretty easy solution here.
Just go knock on the door.
You go over with a plate of cookies, and you say, "Hey, is Nora here?"
Right. Nora,
I haven't noticed her sunbathing.
I don't know why we're so open with like saying their names out loud when they're next door.
Nora.
She's dead.
Yeah, she can't hear
Like
us.
that's an uncommon name. We're talking about our friend Nora.
Correct, yes. So anyways, send help
Nora the Explorer.
to Nora the Explorer.
The only problem to your solution is you walk over to try and find out what happened by either knocking or bringing over some fucking treats, and then your gut feeling is right and that he murdered her, and then he opens a door, and now you're in his
I'm in the
fucking
crosshairs, yes. And the fact that we're even talking about this, assuming he's probably a P1.
Yeah, he
because
definitely
everyone
listens.
Nate definitely listens.
I
He's in our
guarantee we
demo.
have
He's in our demo.
No Lake Oswego listeners. We do not have that.
Well, renters.
Well,
of Lake
well, here's the
Oswego
thing.
would.
You
Fucking condescending prick.
They wouldn't ever need a table saw.
Yeah, I know. He's asking me for my circular saws, all of my saws. Why does he need my saws?
Well,
Peter says renters, and it's like he's on the verge of spitting on someone. Fucking renters.
Pete's the kind of kid that
Oh, you're
if he
right.
grew up like in the medieval times, he would be that prince that's just jerking off from the windowsill into the
That sounds
village
like a-
over the peasants.
that sounds like a
the,
fun
the
life.
King Joffrey type. You're King Joffrey.
Yes. That's what I was gonna say.
Or you're Roman.
I was gonna
And
say-
what happened to him?
I was gonna say you're that prick from Game of Thrones.
He had a good run, though. He had a good run.
Until he didn't.
he had a good run because he was king of
Yeah.
Targaryen. Well, all right.
Of Target? He was the king of Target.
Targaryen king.
I didn't know Target was a big
Still
part of Game of
jerking
He was
off
a big
his
Tar Heel.
microphone.
He was a big. He was a big Hansborough guy.
Still jerking off that microphone. But okay, so we'll report back on Nora. Go, you check. It's Nora with an H, by the way, in case.
Oh, like Nora Jones.
Yeah, exactly like
It could
her.
also
Is it Nora Jones?
No. I think that it has an initial. I think it's Nora L.
You think you can get some clues from their wing order? Like once you open the box and see what kind of wings they ordered,
Maybe.
kind of give you a clue as to what happened.
Oh, right. Yeah. So if it's like hot.
Or if you open the box and all the wings are in forming the word help.
Help. Yeah, correct. Yeah. Just
Should've
the
checked it 4 days
just
ago.
the wings. Yeah.
Yeah.
It looked like it was still
Too
sealed,
little, too
though.
late, it seems,
Yeah.
Pete.
Anyways.
I don't think you realize how fast sound travels outside of a garage.
Especially my cutting ass voice. Yes, I know. It will disrupt
Squidward
anything.
voice.
My Squidward ass voice. I don't need a Squidward ass voice to understand how much sound cuts. Today, I found myself in a very unfortunate situation where usually pretty quiet corporate bathroom that I am in. But I was actively shitting, and another person comes in. And I'm in the big boy stall. By big boy, I mean handicap stall, which is not
Disabled
a big boy.
persons.
They got
Disabled.
bars. Bars to hold
They
on
do.
to.
I love that. It's great for the wiping.
It helps when you're on roller skates.
I'm sure it does.
It does.
Because then you have
confirm.
I speak from experience.
you stop. You use the stopping thing to help you with
Just
your
all
momentum.
toes.
Skates or
Your
blades.
tippy toes.
Skates or
Just
blades.
pooping on tippy toes.
You got to
all
put the
day.
sonic order down so you can drop a deuce and hold on to that bar.
I put the Coney Island down and I strapped in.
I mean, really, having the Coney Island probably helps things move along.
Oh yeah,
if you're actually.
it was just one. It was like a water slide.
Yeah, right. It's kind of like the whole thing. Like, could you actively constantly pee? Well,
gotta
could you
stimulate
keep
the
shitting?
prostate.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry,
But
Pete. Continue.
No, but someone walks in and they see me. They see those tootsies. They see those feet, and they
Bitch-ass
decide.
Nikes.
They're not going to go to one of the other bathrooms in the building. They're
They
going
went
to
into
go.
yours.
Yeah, well, they sat down next to me and they let it rip. They didn't even like try to make sure that I was like making the sound or whatever. They just fucking blew it right into the toilet, and I'm like,
I respect that.
As do I.
It's a power move.
and I've never done that. I see people, I leave or I hold it or I pretend to pee. You guys do that? The pretend to pee and then go find another bathroom?
I try to shit quietly.
Quiet
If I have
shitter.
to take a shit, but and then I can't help it, but I just gotta open it up sometimes. You just gotta let it just.
You've never aborted a mission where you go, oh, I'm just going to pee.
I'm
and
not
then,
a fucking coward.
I don't know if this is something.
Flush and go.
I don't know if this is something to be ashamed of,
courtesy flush.
or I should feel bad for you guys that you have not gotten to the stage of life that you still feel that way. I purposely made it uncomfortable when where I used to work, where I know certain people that were in the stalls and I'm in the handicap
Right,
one,
yeah.
and I would let it out and I would make it so uncomfortable for them that I would just go, ow, ow, and I would do added noises on top of my poop.
burns.
They're like, who the fuck? They can't see my shoes because that old bench
You
craft
tuck your
stall.
heads, your feet behind your head.
No, it's a long stall, so they can't see what's under the door.
Okay.
So so you've never aborted a mission where you've peed and then gone to another one and
That's-
then
You
Gotcha.
said
shit.
fake pee.
If someone else is shitting, why
Not
should I
fake
be
pee.
ashamed to take a fat shit? Like,
Yeah.
I
We're
don't
both
like
doing
I don't,
the
I
same
don't like
thing.
when I'm in the stall though, and like.
But what if it?
it's-
Go ahead.
Well, for example, like now that we're in the post-COVID era, not everyone's in the office, so there's a limited amount of people in the office. So
Right.
when I go and use the public bathroom, it's a good chance one of the other 5 people that might be in the office are coming to take a piss.
Yeah.
Like my manager or something, and I'm in there blowing it up, and it's like, I try to just calm down and let it mellow, marinate for a little bit.
Yeah,
I
I might.
flush, but like
I might like pinch it off and wait until they're gone to like continue my destruction.
I hold it until someone walks in.
You're just waiting. You're like, all right, now it's like.
It's not worth it. No
Miguel
one,
will blow his lunch break.
no one
on
can
a-
hear it. And
But-
I've been there for like 45 minutes and do a combination turd drop and jerk off.
Would you? Yeah, well, there's that aspect of it. Is there like kind of a team?
I've never jerked off in a public stall. I must say, I've never done it.
You haven't lived,
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah,
Has everyone here jerked off in a public stall?
pretty sure. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. 3 of the
let's
4
talk
men here.
numbers.
Once?
Wait, are you talking just once? Let's really go quantity
Yeah,
here.
let's go ahead and say percentage of my life that I have spent.
Let's say twice a week for 9 years.
You've never jerked off at work?
Well, like I
Yeah.
work remote.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Well, in the
that
office.
doesn't count. Yeah, at
not in the office. No, I've never.
in the bathroom.
Have you ever jerked
Oh.
off while driving?
Who's that?
Yes, very.
We
much.
got a Hyundai.
I have to.
Is that our DoorDash order?
Yep.
Yeah, we're trying this new
Act
thing. where
normal.
we-
Act
yeah,
normal.
be
Act
cool.
normal.
Your
Act
name
normal.
Nora?
Yeah. Can you go check on Nora?
you can bring it in here.
We're just white guys with podcasts.
You want to say hi to
Any
the
thoughts?
Yeah.
What'd you think of the draft?
Go Niners. They
There you
tried the
go.
draft though.
show? Are you taking McCaffrey #1 in fantasy still? Go Niners, and you're pausing for this?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you got to. You know,
Not
He
McCaffrey.
doesn't want the injury.
he's a weapon. He's versatile.
Yeah.
So you take him #1?
He got to.
Okay.
All right.
You can set it right here, man.
Thanks, man.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
very
Appreciate you.
Have a
Drive
good night.
safe.
Appreciate
man.
it. Yeah. I mean, we will talk about the 49ers.
And that's our celebrity guest, Greg.
Greg. I'll tell you his name. We added
You're
a
welcome
spot.
anytime, Greg.
We should have added
Greg, come
him.
on back.
We should have added him to the couch there.
Come sit on it.
You know what? Jordan coordinated that perfectly, so we got out of the jerk off talk. But proceed.
What? I said, has anyone jerked off while driving? So okay.
Oh right, yeah.
So you and I have jerked off while driving.
I've never jerked off while driving.
Really?
It was long, lonely ride from Texas back to Oregon.
That's dangerous.
Sometimes I
It
do that to
was.
stay awake
It was like 1:00 in the evening. Just got out of Texas to New Mexico.
in the middle
and
of
I
the night.
Just
Yeah.
had to pinch one off.
That's how I go to sleep.
That's true. Sometimes
Yeah.
you need a little
I don't
extra
like that's.
stimulation.
I've never even attempted that because that seems just extremely dangerous. I've turned down Roadhead I don't like
Well, you
roadhead.
can't. You also can't see.
When you're giving someone head.
No, like he can't see. Like he can't. He's.
Are you saying you only do this at night? I can see
It
during
was
the
at,
day.
It was at night. I did jerk off at night.
That just seems
When
crazy.
What do you think I am, a pervert?
when you're when you're giving someone head while you're driving, you can't see. That's where I thought you were going with that.
Miguel's definitely.
Open your eyes. You're behind the wheel.
Should
Have
go
you
the
ever
other way.
Have you ever finger blasted a
Should
chick
go
while
the other
driving?
way.
Of course.
Yeah, who hasn't?
Dude.
What have I not done while finger blasting?
Listen, I saw.
Okay, so I haven't jerked it at the office, and you've jerked it at the office. You've jerked it at the office.
probably.
I've jerked it
Not
in
at this
offices that
office.
weren't even mine.
Yeah.
I just found it.
I mean, by office,
I found it.
A Regis 8x8?
I jerked it in a Cutco office.
You're talking about in an office or in a like.
Real, like an office bathroom.
Sure.
We're talking about.
Not a container.
Have you guys had sex or like blowjob in an office?
Yes. Well,
These
you're
guys
talking.
from
You're
Cutco
talking to
people.
Cutco DMs.
You're talking about
Yeah.
Cutco guys. Yeah.
But
Not
pizza
me.
prude.
No.
We were
yeah.
like 20. We were in our 20s. And
I only ever
too
got
much
to
power.
Sales manager, never running my own office.
Don't say the power stuff.
Yeah,
Now
that's a
I'm-
little
Now
concerning.
I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It was the power
Do
of
you
my
want to know
suit.
what it's like to hold so much power over people's
Okay,
base pay?
Jordan.
Yeah, the power that one wields when they have $1.3 billion. A Laotian man wins the Powerball in Oregon. Actually bought a
good
ticket
cut.
in what, North Portland?
Oh, this is the one that was anonymous. For
The
a
recent
while.
one.
Yeah, the recent
They
guy-
just announced it today.
Yeah, so he comes, he does like a press conference. A Laotian man came, first generation, but he's also been battling cancer for the last 8 years. So he's been talking about how he can use this money to, at least curb a little bit of the inevitable. Sorry, that's probably how it's going to go. But $1.3 billion, he was like, I'm just going to find a good doctor and ride this out.
Did
as long
you
as I
see how much
possibly
they
can.
got?
$697 or something like that.
Was
right?
it?
Yeah, I think so.
697 million.
But the guy, he shared it with,
3 people, is that right?
yeah, he got 422. So he shared a lot of the money with some people. And I was seeing this today because they just released his name today.
Yeah.
And yeah, like fuck, you get 700 out of 1.3 billion. The guy takes 422 of it, and I think shared some with the store where he got it from, even though they get $1 million or something like that.
Oh, so we gave him.
He
even
was
more.
fucking generous. And this particular instance, this lottery example right here shows how fucking ignorant this entire country is when it comes to immigration. That is the main thing I fucking saw today. Everyone and every article that I read from KGW and all the comments in the thread was like, oh, that's not right. I didn't know a fucking immigrant could, if you don't need to have papers to win the fucking lottery. I'm like,
Are you fucking
do you know what
kidding me?
immigrant means?
Are you fucking kidding
It's such a trigger word for some people that they think immigrant means
Dude.
undocumented alien.
dude?
Like, this entire country is immigrants.
Dude, yeah.
It's so stupid.
fucking god.
They're like,
damn
oh,
it,
you
dude.
don't need to have papers to win it. We're
I
paying.
feel triggered right
he's,
now. I'm sorry.
He's ready
He's
to go.
taking our tax money. I'm like, he's a U.S. Like, you don't know. I don't know. You don't know that he's a U.S. citizen
And-
or a permanent resident.
He's an American just as much as
And
any of us. Just
there's
because the
no
color of
part
his
of-
skin is
There's
different.
no part of
not
it.
different. Not even different.
There's no part of it that is tax money.
Yeah, and not only that, but like
It's all-
Literally everyone paying into it.
It's all your dumbasses
It's
who
the
are
stupid
buying
tax money.
20 tickets because you think you're going to win, and you're upset because somebody who has brown skin won.
yeah, well, and then the guy
Idiots.
who did win bought 20 tickets, and he did
Good
win.
for him.
You know what's funny?
Sorry,
That's
cancer.
why it's called the lottery. Like, it's,
So
it's
when
just
it was funny,
dumb luck.
the last time this reached about $600-700 million, Lindsay and I were down in San Diego, and we wanted to get one of the, just a Powerball ticket. So we went to one of our favorite bars, Polite Provision, shout out. And then down the street, we're like, well, we want to make sure that we get a Powerball ticket. And Lindsay was like, walks in, she was like, would we win if we bought it here, but we're not from here? He's like, of course. He's like, the guy was like, people are buying lottery tickets in China and then vice versa. He was talking about a network of people who buy tickets for one another and like send stuff from like India and China and Egypt and all these lotteries from around the world. So he's like, of course, it doesn't matter. Just buy it here. You know,
there's a guy that's been featured on TLC. It's like, you know, TLC has those weird shows, and he spends 25 to 30,000 on lottery tickets
a year.
I don't know. I can't remember if it's like I mean, that's just don't imagine it's every drawing, but it's like he spends that much money to increase his chances of winning, and he's won. He doesn't win the jackpot, but he wins
like
enough
small pools
that he gets his return on investment. So he like invests 30,000 and then he wins like 50, and then he does it again. It's doing the exact roulette, like more. A little bit riskier, but doing the roulette strategy.
Yeah.
It's like, I'll bet 500 to win 100.
Isn't there a Bryan Cranston movie about gaming? Like
Breaking Bad.
No. Yeah, I think that's what it is.
No,
he was gaming the lottery
about.
system and whatnot. He cracked the code on.
So here's my question about this situation, because it obviously is unfortunate that this
that Laos man won the lottery. I know.
Gentleman has cancer.
That's what
that he's not too far from, unfortunately, meeting his end.
Peril.
Is it stage?
I don't remember exactly.
I'm not
what
sure,
it is,
but
when you're at that point,
because I'm. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
What my point is, if you were in that position, and let's say hypothetically it's stage 4, you know, you've got a year to live, whatever it may be, and you all of a sudden have $500 million.
Sure.
Are you just going balls to the wall, like, I'm going to live my life to the fullest and just end on a bang? Or are you like, oh, I'm going to fully invest into medical care and see if we can beat this?
I feel like he was talking about, and I'll let you go here, Jordan, in a second. I feel like he was talking about trying to burn that money like before he was dead. Not like in a bad way, but like, hey, I'm going to see how much of this I can work myself
Well,
through.
I think your point is more towards research, which I get. I wasn't even thinking that way, so maybe that's my bad. I think it depends on who I'm leaving behind.
Yeah.
Do I have a ton of family and friends that could benefit from this?
Yeah,
because if we're talking,
it's you right now.
Like, if I have no one in my circle, I am going to fucking live like a king until I'm dead. But if I'm talking about that I have a group of friends and I have family that could benefit from this, then I'll think a little bit more intelligently about the money that I have and set them all up for life.
Or like, I get that, but also like, even if you don't have a network or a group you're close to, there's got to be something you're passionate about that you want to
like
sink
charity.
that money into.
Yeah.
Like, not necessarily just even charity, but like something in the community that can use your funding that you want to put it. So yes, I would live very lavishly, but I would also, I feel like no matter what, I mean, I'm with you where I would put it to my friends, my family, the people that I care about the most, but live pretty good.
Even splitting it in half, you still have $250 million.
The difference is too is we're not talking about $5 million. We're talking about $400 million. I think you can push yourself to the limit and live lavishly and still have $300 million.
Yeah, if you have less than 5 years to live, you can make a lot out of fucking $10 million.
You don't have to do shit, and that's so much money that even if you tried, you could not burn all that money. I think the easiest route, the easiest answer would be if you had people like family and friends you could leave it to, but if you don't, you do your best to live live lavishly, buy everything you want, travel, eat whatever the fuck you want, and you could do things like not necessarily give a shit ton of money to charity, but like, you know, I would buy a 100-unit apartment complex and have that house low-income people.
Sure.
And have that be in the contract. This
Immigrants
is not,
only.
This is not this is not
immigrants.
to anyone who makes more than $24,000 a year. You know, homeless / whatever. Give them housing. and have something in place that when I die, I know that I did fucking
Yeah, that
something.
was your purpose for sure. The possibility as well is he could hustle people endlessly at Dave and Buster's, and what I mean by that is
Skee ball?
Yes, skee ball, and also Papa Shot. Dave and Buster's has now instituted in their loyalty program the ability to bet people within, like, going up against people for like a max of $5 bets. So what you can do
Connect for basketball all fucking day.
is you can challenge your friends and you can wager within your loyalty card up to $5 per round against someone that you're
So when are we
playing
going?
with. Right, yeah. I was just thinking about, like,
Can you do it with food?
you cannot do it with food. I imagine all I saw was things like skee ball and Papa Shot and those things that you could, tangibly go against a person on. You can bet up to $5.
That
on
shitty
your
quarterback
loyalty.
game with 3 holes. That's so hard every time.
You got to pee? The
Dude,
man's got to pee.
don't bother coming back unless you have the bag of wings.
Don't go outside. Okay, fine. Go outside.
Follow your heart.
Shut the door.
Just with your. He's gonna get the. I live in an HOA now. This
Well,
man's
thank
gonna
God
get the cops
Nora's
called.
dead. She won't see it.
Yeah. True, but she's on that side.
Walk up to them with this.
Yeah. You level, bruh? You level?
Hey,
You
where'd this
straight?
table come from?
You straight? I got that for free on Buy Nothing. Ever heard of a Buy Nothing?
You know how much stuff you have? You're just adding shit.
Yeah, but that's gonna go back outside, so that's nice.
That's an outdoor table,
It's an outdoor table. Yeah, it's gonna be
dude.
Since we're waiting for Jordan and we're talking about how much shit you have.
so much it. But hey, you guys like that? Nothing's gonna fall on our heads now.
Well,
It is
Look
is
at
my
nice.
head leveled?
fucking studio. No.
But let's not avoid my question.
Yeah. What was your question? Was it jerk off question? What
No,
was it?
if you had to, how difficult would it be for you if you had to, if we counted all the things that you own and we gave them essentially one value point per object,
Yeah.
and you had to get rid of, let's say, 40% of the things that you own.
Oh yeah. Deal. I don't even know what you're asking, but deal.
But how difficult would it be for you?
It would
Because
not-
It would not be difficult.
Then why do you have so much shit?
Don't. Are you trying to move it,
Yeah.
or are you gonna take it upstairs? Sure, go put it upstairs. Yeah. I would say. So here's the thing: what you see or don't see is the fact that there is a lot of child stuff hiding around here as well, which is taking up the space of other things. But my intention, once I start unboxing this, is really deciding whether or not it stays here or not. It is madness, insane that I burned my house down in 2018. No joke. For listeners who are not aware, I had a house fire.
I think they're aware.
In 2018, in which 95% of my material possessions were burned, and I couldn't
To a
have
crisp.
to a crisp and couldn't have them anymore. So the fact that we have all of this again is absurd, and I don't need it. And when you think about going through that situation in which you lost 95% of the stuff, and then you think about, gosh, I just wish I had this, and this, and I would be fine. It really puts things into perspective. And yet, here we are with all of this stuff.
Is your question meant to find out if he's a hoarder?
Yeah, and I know he is.
Yeah. Are you saying that it's me?
But yeah, because the question is really geared more towards you, because it would not even take me a second to get rid of 40% of my shit. I do that every time I move. But are you saying you have difficulty deciding when you're looking at an item in your house going, do I really want to get rid of this, or can I find a place for it in my house? Is that tough for you? Because then you're borderline hoarder, like those shows.
No, but there are a few things that I haven't gotten rid of because they are more heirloomy. I've had some stuff from like...
Yeah, you find the sentimentality.
Yeah, for sure. So there are some things that I have brought here for sure that are just like, I don't want anything to do with this.
Is that a word?
Sentimentality, yeah.
Sentimentality.
I'm in agreement with you. I
We'll
thought
see.
for the longest time that agreement was a word. It's not, but we can be in agreement on that.
Yep.
I don't think it's a word. That's not a word.
Sentimentality.
We'll figure it out.
Look it up. I'm going to look it up now because Jordan just...
Because you want to change the subject from you being a hoarder.
Sentimentality.
Hoarder.
Sentimentality. Excessive tenderness, sadness, or nostalgia. So there you go. Sentimentality.
Suck it.
Look at him. He died and he knows more words than you.
Yeah, because
We're going back to the dying.
I know. It's really... it's really not...
Sentimentalism, yeah.
Yeah, it's really not the right thing. Let's see. Those were the things that I had.
Pete,
in
will
our
you get
non-sports
fucking
things.
control of this podcast,
I will.
please?
He died and made up a word.
God told me.
God told me to bring this word back.
He came back from the death
Yeah.
just to take my spot on this podcast. By the way, does everyone know who I am?
Yeah, we haven't introduced Jordan.
you've been here enough that we don't need to introduce you
I
anymore.
The
actually,
man who needs no introduction.
I actually looked behind the camera and I was like, I don't see anyone. It's like, who are you talking to?
It would be funny that when this gets posted, that we just hear your audio, but Peter blocks you out. So there's no one on video between him and Braxton.
People are like, why is there
just your
such a
voice.
large gap between
I'm gonna
Peter
bleep
and Brad?
you.
What's that voice?
Yeah, I just keep looking over at the live golf.
Dude, Live Golf, they just had the best turnout for one of their
You
events.
see the flag?
Adelaide. Phil Mickelson?
Yeah,
Dude,
guy
it's
that I
not
could've
just
knew.
Phil. Okay.
there's a couple guys on there.
Never heard
We
of
also
him.
didn't name Ricky Fowler in our name off.
That's true. But anyways, sorry, Pete. Take control.
I was just going to talk about
But
the
Live
NFL draft.
Adelaide? Is that Adelaide?
Adelaide.
What's cool about Live Golf, and
Tell us.
I know you guys probably don't talk about golf a lot on the pod. And
do, actually.
Not like I'm a pod, like I'm a golf
Spent 45
aficionado.
minutes on the Masters.
But what's good about Live is that it's
All that
it's
Saudi money.
bringing golf to more international spots.
Mm,
And it's
Shrinking the
like
cooler.
when's the last time the PGA Tour went to Australia or anywhere outside the US and the UK? So I think that's really cool. Like how Live is going to these. It's become an international tour.
you found the talking points, is what.
I found the talking points.
I was just saying that's like a majority of what like these guys were saying, like Kevin Na and everyone. I just remember all
guy we
these
didn't
guys
name.
talking about like all of. You would have seen him at the Live Tour at Pumpkin Ridge.
Dude, I wish I went to that with you guys.
was
That
so
was
cool.
that sounded
You
so
weren't
fun.
allowed.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
That honestly, not to be nostalgic,
I just played Pumpkin Ridge recently, by the way.
but that was honestly one of the coolest sporting events I've ever been to.
only
sure.
thing, only thing about Live though, I don't like that they do the shotgun start. I actually don't think that's that cool. And I
Like
don't,
they fire shotgun like track and field.
yeah. So they don't do the shotgun start, or they do the shotgun start, and I don't like that. And I don't like that the tournaments are only like 3-day tournament. I think they did a lot to discredit themselves. But I think
They
people are
bastardized the sport. A
they
little bit.
bastardized the sport, and I think that's the biggest gripe with this PGA thing. And it's golf's a weird sport. There's got to be a way for both these tours to coexist. Is how I think.
Tell the
about
good
it.
old boys to accept it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And we'll get to that point. But I think it's going to take more time than what people expected. I think it's going to take probably another 3 years before we see a full conversion of both the leagues.
AKA wait for the good old boys to die that are so resistant to change. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, is it Jay Monahan?
Monahan. Yeah.
I mean, we're not a golf. This isn't a golf podcast like no
We
laying
cover
up
the
or
events.
foreplay pod or whatever. Yeah, fuck foreplay pod, but no laying up's way better. But
I don't know.
yeah, fuck Barstool, fucking douchebags. Anyone that supports Bar. Just kidding. Dave, sponsor this pod.
How do you do that? What do you do?
But he's
Poor Troy
royally
needs to shut the
fucked
fuck
up.
up.
Monahan.
Yeah,
He's
it's-
done everything
it's
he
a
can
fun
to gatekeep
situation.
the sport, and none of his players on
sound
tour
great.
like him. They feel smited by him.
Yeah, and we'll see how it goes.
But how would you feel if you were Tiger Woods recently, where they just go, "Hey, randomly for your loyalty. Here's $100 million or whatever they just did. And I know that that's like
I didn't even see. I didn't. See
yeah, they
anything
just
about
did like
this.
a loyalty or a royalty bonus or whatever.
You got
It's a
100,
Tiger.
Rory got 50.
50.
right?
Yeah, it was just kind of like out of the blue. And I was like, all right, thanks.
I bet.
I mean, I'd
bet
like it if I was one of those 2 golfers in the
But
world.
if you're Rory in that situation, he was literally the poster boy for the PGA, going up and defending all of their decisions,
They go,
and
"Here's
you're
50."
like, hey, we'll give you half.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and give you half of what the other
he's
guy.
I
sucks.
mean, you're not Tiger.
Well,
We
it's
all know
because
that.
he can't win.
Hey, you're
a
not
fucking-
Bryson DeChambeau either,
win
who's
the
getting
majors
$100
now.
million from
Yeah.
Live or anything like that. So,
Anyways,
but yes, I mean, back to the emotional connection that Braxton and I were just having a second ago. I think that Live tour that you and I attended as media members, not getting signatures
Media
from people,
members.
was by far like a core memory that I have.
yeah, it was wonderful.
So cool. Like
It was
just
wonderful.
doing like that special podcast
Pumpkin
on
Ridge.
on the
It was, like,
green.
glorious.
It was so cool. It was perfect. Anyways, so not to get all like sentimental and emotional, but
I'm hard.
I had such a good
rocked
time
up.
doing that.
Dude, you ever
Yeah,
been
that
hard?
was awesome.
Yeah, we'll get credentialed here one of these days to go back to one of those things, and perhaps to the NFL draft. Either that, or we could be one of the 750,000 people who attended the NFL draft in Detroit.
Dude, fucking.
That was Detroit.
That was in
Fucking
Detroit.
hell,
Yeah,
I never looked up where
fucking hell.
Fucking hell.
Fucking hell, mate.
You know, you look at the NFL draft, and it was chalk all the way through probably the 6th or 7th pick, and then you get to the 8th pick, and then we'll get to the Michael Penix.
8 or
pick.
You
6.
just skipped over, like, yeah, it's 6 of the 12
Penix was 6,
first
I
pick.
think.
6 of the 12 first picks were all how many
Yeah.
quarterbacks were taken in the first round?
6.
There were only 6.
Yeah, I
JJ
think that-
McCarthy was not taken in the first
There was
round.
not a
He
single
was.
quarterback taken after the first 6 were taken in the first 12
yes,
picks.
6 of the 12, and then they win 100 like 50 plus
And
picks.
not only was that a weird stat with I know there were more quarterbacks, but the 6 quarterbacks were taken in the first 12 picks, and then not a single quarterback until the end of the draft. But the first running back was taken in like round 4.
That's weird.
There were no running
very
backs.
weird.
I think the first running back taken was the Florida State guy or the Texas guy, and it went
Is the
through
running
the
back position becoming obsolete?
middle of the draft. Well, it's weird because
Bucky Irving to
we've
the,
had that conversation where like you go for the younger guys. That's why the older guys get recycled or whatever. But that's weird to me that it took 4 rounds
Yeah.
to draft a running back.
And I was going to say the exact same thing, because this last year we had this whole kind of hubbub about, we can get young running backs
Why
and
pay Saquon?
and pay
Yeah.
them a lower cost. We don't-
Bijan Robinson.
We don't
get
need to
him in.
pay these guys, and that was a huge headline and topic in the NFL this last year. And to see these teams not do that after being so outspoken about how they can do that,
Right. And this draft was more of a quarterback, wide receiver, top heavy draft,
Yeah.
right? And I understand like the need for the potentially later round guys, of either running back or whatnot. Maybe it was a running back weak draft or anything like that. But let's just go through. You had Caleb Williams, not a shocker there at all. It was interesting
I still don't. I mean, I don't want to beat the drum, but it's like it's still fascinating to me what Chicago did to get rid of Justin Fields to go get Caleb Williams.
to then
I
build around him the
I
way
think-
that they refused to do around Justin Fields.
I think it would have been just as fun to see Justin Fields with this team with Rome Odunze and all these weapons and Keenan Allen and all these weapons that they now have, and he's on a contract year, and
contract year, and then you trade that pick away, and then you have an
or you
onslaught
take that
more.
or you get that pick and you go you get another freak athlete that's you get a Marvin Harrison
but I
too.
suppose like
I don't
again
know.
in that like top quarterback draft, like you wouldn't necessarily you would trade out of that pick. You wouldn't take that first overall to then go get.
Yeah, you could go get
You wouldn't get Marvin Harrison number 1 or anything like that.
I get it, but
What were you finish what you were saying though, Pete?
No,
derailed again.
I don't exactly remember what I was trying to say, but it was
Caleb Williams, no shock.
yeah. So with Caleb Williams, no shock there. You know, then you get into your second, third, fourth pick. It seemed that like when we got to like second and third, that like the broadcast was like, oh yeah, absolutely Jaden Daniels, absolutely Drake May. I was like, wait, I thought we were debating this for a second. I thought there was like no ambiguity. They were like, there's no ambiguity.
It was just us.
They had
Yeah.
they had
The
no
only-
doubt about it.
The only ambiguity I saw was, excuse me, in the third pick with Drake May.
Yeah.
Because I saw several.
They could have blown up the draft by going a different route. So okay, so then with the
It's fucking stupid.
what the Falcons do, and I want to talk about this because a lot of people like there was a lot of focus on that, especially after they take the pick. Then you had closed circuit video of the GM looking like, oh shoot, like he's like fighting for his job,
answering
to Arthur Blank. Yeah, like what the hell did you just do? And it's interesting because like the situation's a little different than like say an Aaron Rodgers established quarterback.
Jordan Love.
They take Jordan Love because you literally just courted Kirk Cousins. You're under investigation for tampering for the courtship of Kirk Cousins, and then to draft a guy in Michael Penix, 8th overall, where that guy in Michael Penix is going to take all of the first team reps in OTAs because Kirk Cousins is
24 years.
hurt.
Yeah.
Well, Kirk Cousins is hurt, and he's the guy. Like, I mean, when you look at like how you know what happens during this pre-time, you're going to be like, oh shit, this guy's pretty good. Now you've just paid $180 million to a guy where you just go, oh shit, now we've got a quarterback on a rookie contract. What is your strategy? It's a complete like running two paths at the same time, and they just didn't stick to one strategy there.
Well,
they're playing
that's-
two sides,
when
and
they-
now they're putting themselves in a weird situation.
When they went out and got Kirk Cousins, it made no sense to me why they were doing that. And then when they got him, I was like, okay, well, I guess they're invested in Kirk Cousins. They want to win with Kirk Cousins. They think, and I think I said this, not on this pod, but I said, oh, the Falcons just became the Minnesota Vikings because they have all these weapons with Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins is Kirk Cousins. Like, he's not bad. He's not great. He's good.
I don't think
Like-
any team pursuing Kirk Cousins in the offseason
Is going to be a championship caliber
No,
team.
that's not where I was going with it. It was like potentially they would be the next Minnesota Vikings again, where they're a playoff team and whatever. But it's just, again, I don't fault them for saying that we need an established veteran quarterback. But then to go and pick a quarterback 8th overall is like, wait, hold on.
Then
What are we
that's
doing?
then what's
doesn't
the
make
problem?
sense.
But why are people so up in arms and confused by the move?
Because you just went and signed Kirk Cousins
To
to like a
$180
4 or
million.
5 year deal.
Okay,
What-
so
look-
I get what you're saying, but you're also contradicting your own point.
I don't
he's
think
not.
I am. What am I contradicting?
He didn't. Atlanta Falcons signed Kirk Cousins before the draft, right?
Correct,
He's hurt. As much as we love Kirk Cousins,
I
You
didn't
guys-
say I didn't
Shut the
love
fuck
Kirk
up.
Cousins.
as much as we like Kirk Cousins, he's a good guy. He's not Mahomes. He's not Allen. He's not Lamar Jackson. He's not Brady at his peak. So you guys just said they're just another Minnesota Vikings, right? He's hurt. If you had an opportunity to draft a good quarterback, why not do it?
Yeah, but you
I
did
think
that
that-
with Michael Penix, who's 24 years old.
I think he's 23, and I think the big red flag is that you guaranteed Kirk Cousins $100 million.
You're running two strategies at the same time. It's as if
They
like,
contradict each other.
It's kind of a two quarterbacks, no quarterbacks controversy, but then you gave one of them $180 million.
And the other thing is that you're in a city that cares enough about their football team where the second that Kirk Cousins doesn't live up to expectations, they're going to be chanting penis, penis, penis.
Okay, then give me your solution.
Don't draft.
Don't draft Penix.
Don't draft Penix. And
Or don't sign Kirk Cousins.
One of
that's
those
done.
two.
That's done. Kirk Cousins has been
Then
signed.
go
if we're
get
talking
a
about
then
the
go
draft.
get a
Trade the
later.
pick.
Go get Jalen. What's the Milrow or whatever.
So
Like,
you're still
just-
saying get a quarterback.
or
We'll get
they-
him later. Don't spend your 8th pick on that when you have
You can
a
get
liability at
Roma
defense.
Dunze. You
You
can
could
get Brock Brock Bowers.
They have
You
all.
wouldn't- you wouldn't
could
get
have got. You
Bowers.
needed defense. They needed a defensive like DT.
Okay.
A linebacker.
Here's my
someone-
point. You're saying get a skill position athlete, but you just said get another quarterback in the later rounds. Just don't get him in the first round.
I think
so you're
Penix
saying,
is the best quarterback
so
in the draft.
What
by
do
the
you
way.
do? So are you saying, okay, we paid Kirk Cousins all this money. It's all or nothing with him. It's all or nothing. So if he gets
You
hurt,
paid him that kind of money. Yes.
so you
Yes.
made your bed, you lie in it.
So
You do if you
He's
spend
hurt.
180
He's
million
hurt right
on it.
now. So
Why would you spend that kind of money if he was hurt right then? He's coming off an Achilles tear. They're stupid for going after Kirk the way they did.
Okay, we
Period.
can't turn back time. He's been fucking
Then-
signed. So what's your answer during the fucking draft?
You don't get a quarterback that's like
you trade
that.
it.
That you.
If your strategy was to go in on a quarterback
don't-
in that situation, you're running two competing strategies. And the
So
thing
you're
is,
saying you live with the fact that you have Kirk Cousins and you're not looking in the quarterback position.
100%. Yeah.
You just live with it.
They didn't even
Not
tell,
with a top 10 pick.
They didn't even tell Kirk Cousins that they were going to draft this guy. You want your franchise quarterback that you put almost $200 million into, that you call when you're on the clock. When you're on the clock and you go, we're going to go ahead and take a guy that could essentially compete with you.
So here, so
I
you
mean,
guys
if
are,
it works out and Penix is, I want Penix to be.
there's
great.
a lot of ifs. We're putting you're siding with the fact that we're putting all our money on Kirk. We signed him. It's a lot.
They
we're-
literally did, though.
We're tied in for a lot of
Yeah,
money. We just live with
they
it.
did.
They literally
did.
put all their money on him.
And they shouldn't. That I think the point
There's a
is
salary cap in the NFL, Miguel. I don't know if you know this.
I
but-
understand.
Okay.
But you're okay with putting all your eggs in one basket.
No,
So
but that's why they shouldn't have done that. Like that's.
But stop trying to go back in time. They already signed Kirk. They've paid him the fucking money. I'm talking about the draft, the move to pick up Penix. Stop trying to go, well, we shouldn't have signed Kirk. They already did that. So in the draft, the fucking draft, I don't have a problem
Then
with
get other
them.
pieces.
I don't have a problem with them getting a possible replacement because I can't put all my money on Kirk Cousins,
You already
who's
did.
been fucking hurt.
You already did.
but they did.
They did.
That's
They
kind of the
did.
thing, is that they did.
I get what you're saying, Miguel, but they did put all their money on that quarterback and made that spend to go get him. So why not try to make your team more well-rounded so you can actually go
It just-
deep
he
in the
might-
playoffs?
There's a reason. There's a
Because
chance
he
that
might
not
get
even
hurt, so
play.
you're still going to be exposed in those ends, and then Penix is left to
Here's-
fucking dry.
So
rather
allow,
have another quarterback.
Allow me to. There's one competing theory that has not been talked about.
you go trade for Justin Fields.
No, not at
I'm
all.
just fucking around.
The one competing theory is that there is a fear within the NFL community that the Falcons will lose their first round pick next year or the year after over this alleged tampering of Kirk Cousins. So when you say, hey, we need to shoot our shot now because we're not going to have this shot again for the next couple of years, we're not going to be able to draft his replacement next year or the year after. So do we take it now? And I think that that's kind of like the one small caveat where you just go, shit, we know we're going to get screwed here in the next couple of years because we contacted and we tried to negotiate and everything with Kirk Cousins early. So we're not going to get this opportunity later on. I understand that's probably why he was fighting for his
If
job.
they get in trouble for that, do they lose Cousins?
No, they wouldn't lose
lose-
Cousins.
they
They would
lose
lose
draft
draft
pick.
pick.
They lose draft pick.
And then you have Penix sitting behind Cousins, and you're okay with that. Penix is a guy that's ready to come into the league and start. He does.
Yeah, that's why I want him on my team.
Bad optics, and I'm as the optics guy. I think it's bad optics to bring in
can't believe
your replacement. You can't believe
can't
you're going
believe
to
I'm
agree with
agreeing
me.
with Pete.
Yeah, you're running two competing strategies at the same time when you could have drafted defense, which no one drafted defense in that like early on.
Seahawks did.
You weren't going to draft a tight end because you already had Kyle Pitts, and who else do they have?
They have the
Who's their
running
second
back.
guy? Yeah,
Bijan.
They've got Bijan's-
They've got the wide receiver.
Who's
Drake-
their
or
Drake London?
Drake
and then
London.
They also have another receiver too, don't they?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think NFL teams have more than one.
They've got a couple. They've got a couple. So yeah.
No.
I'll ask you this:
Julio Jones.
all the opinions from armchair warriors, including us, how often do optics work in the professional in the NFL?
I mean, who?
I mean, ask
If
the Aaron Rodgers
if a
situation.
team made a move that looks bad, how often does it work where like they're being questioned, or how often does it turn out the way you think it'll turn out? They're being questioned, and it's like, all right, you
It could work out.
thought they were a joke, and then
That's
could work out.
Yeah,
Like, I
and
hope
I
it
get what
does
you're
for
saying,
them. Like-
and that's the point of all this: is we're gonna scream and shout about how this is a dumb decision, and then Kirk Cousins is gonna get injured week 1, Aaron Rodgers style, and then they're gonna be fucking the smartest organization known to man. However,
Why give him 180 million in the first place?
you have to admit that based on the contract that they offered Kirk Cousins, not only the contract but the amount of money guaranteed. It's a $180 million contract with 100 of that being guaranteed. It's very
to a
contradictory.
500 quarterback, by the way.
It's very contradictory
one that hasn't won in
to
a big game.
the plan they seem to have had in place.
I don't deny that getting Kirk Cousins and paying him that much money is a bad move. I just blew past that because we can't change that. That's stupid. Kirk Cousins is not a Patrick Mahomes. He's not going to change your franchise.
Then
That's why I don't have a it's like I've already spent that money and it's stupid. I shouldn't have done that, but I can't change that. So
But why would they think that was stupid?
oh my God, Miguel.
I don't know why you're
I don't know,
so
why
confused.
are you dying on this hill?
I'm not dying on any hill.
You're dying on
I'd
this
kill
hill.
you on any hill.
No, I'm just saying it was like, why have
Let's
that
move past this.
strategy?
Let's move past this. When we've sunk all our money into this player, let's move past this. No, you don't fucking move past that.
Is it
because
by-
you sunk all your money into one player?
Like, are you suggesting like buyer's remorse? Because that's what it would be.
Yeah,
then,
I'm not.
right?
I'm no longer looking at the fact that I spent the money on Kirk Cousins because I can't change that fact. I'm just saying I don't have a problem with getting Penix Jr. because I can't trust that the guy I paid $200 million to will stay on the field.
So why not go after a like career backup for these next couple of years, and then get,
that's another question for another day. But if I had
like the Brissetts
The amount
world,
of capital
the
you're
Minshew's of the
putting
world.
into a competing theory just doesn't make sense, and I think that's the point the three of us on this side of the couch are trying to make.
Don't put me in that.
he
Don't
speaks
put you
for
into
himself.
that. You put a top 10 pick into this and a nearly $200 million contract into the same position.
I get it, you're an optics guy.
That's not.
It's
what
a
I'm
two
saying.
quarterbacks, no quarterbacks.
It's-
The thing that I will say is that it would have
I am
made
putting
a
into this.
little bit more sense to get a weapon either on offense or defense at that pick and go, if you think that you need a backup, go after a Brissett, a Minshew, Mariota, one of those guys who is serviceable and isn't threatening to your quarterback that you just paid $200 million to. That's where it, to me, is a little bit of an issue.
yeah.
Michael Penix is a big personality too. Like he's
And the
he's
last time Atlanta had a left-handed quarterback, we had issues. So
From like a dog fighting perspective, you mean?
Yeah.
There's that part of
Yeah.
it. Okay, so if we
Who's
have, so we had surprises within the draft. Obviously, like I do want
I'm
to.
glad we made it to the 8th pick.
we
We
just
can
got
move on
caught
to-
up on this
Technically
for
it was
15
six.
minutes.
Yeah.
Atlanta was 6.
We can move on to the
okay.
12th pick, which was the the Denver Broncos. And,
Best
Bo
pick of the
Nix.
draft.
Oh God.
You now, as a Sean Payton hater, will have to.
I still hate Sean Payton. I want to make that very clear.
He's gonna ruin Bo. Is that what you're saying?
I love a good Bo Nix talk. I'm just curious, of these top 6 quarterbacks that were drafted, who do you think is going to be the biggest bust?
Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams. Actually,
I think Drake May's going to
Drake
suck
May and
balls
Caleb
too.
Williams are kind of.
Yeah, they're one.
I think Caleb
1B.
Williams is a little bit ahead.
I think
There's an
Caleb will
edge.
actually do pretty well in Chicago. I think Chicago might get something going. Like
the
I don't
rea-
think he'll be a bust, but I don't think he's going to be like the savior. But I think he'll be.
The reason
good.
he's gonna struggle is because he has no excuses. None whatsoever.
Keenan, DJ Moore, and
Roma
Roma
Dunze.
Roma Dunze's nice. Too.
DeAndre Swift.
Drake May will suck because he has no one around him, and
Yeah,
he's
he's
got
on
a
the
new
Patriots.
quarterback.
He's going to be given the benefit of the doubt. So Drake May's going to be fine. Jaden Daniels, same kind of situation.
Oh, fuck Jaden Daniels. That guy. Oh, wait. No, JJ McCarthy is who I was thinking of. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
JJ McCarthy, because there's not going to be as much expectations
yeah,
as like
those,
a Caleb
those
Williams.
three guys.
He'll be looked at as a game manager. I think the best quarterback,
Dude, JJ McCarthy sucks.
the
I'm
best
sorry.
quarterback out of the 6, that's gonna show numbers right away is Jaden Daniels. I think Jaden Daniels will be the best out of the 6.
He's
At
probably
least right
He's
away.
out of LSU, right?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
and
and
Formerly
Arizona
ASU
State.
as well. Yeah.
ASU, West Virginia, LSU. He's
Where
played
has he
everywhere.
not been?
And he's been good everywhere.
But Bo Nix, okay, so Bo Nix you have on the Broncos. It's funny because they had just traded for Zach Wilson, and if you look at the side-by-side of those two
They're
people,
identical.
Sean Payton has a type, apparently.
Yeah.
A guy with poofy hair, blonde, kind of not tall, you know.
Lots of broken noses.
And the Broncos play the Browns at home this year, so schedule your dates.
Really?
Yep.
Are you
Let's do
voting
that.
for? Are you not voting? Are you rooting for the Broncos or the Browns?
How are you going to do
The
that?
Browns.
Wait, so who's hosting who?
Broncos host the Browns.
How could you go
Nice.
against your boy Bo?
He's
Very easily.
He's going to have to just
Didn't
go
the
like
Broncos
that under
also
the
take
table.
Troy Franklin?
They did.
They did. What a combo. Because they're like best friends, too.
Yeah, and it was a later round pick too. You know, like we've seen this in the past where you had like the Joe Burrows and the Jamar Chases, right? And you had
Yeah.
to use a high draft pick. And I understand I'm not trying to compare Joe
Joe Burrow. Yeah.
with Jamar Chase and Troy Franklin. Yeah. However, there is something to be said about already built-in chemistry. Whether or not that can translate to the NFL or not, you've got a guy who's like, hey, I have already thrown this ball to you thousands of times.
Yeah.
So-
And actually,
God
just
bless
on
the
a
Pac-12.
personal note,
True.
I've already talked to Austin Cuellar, who's a big Broncos fan.
I didn't know
He's
that.
excited and ready to go to that game.
Nice. Love that.
Who's the best pick of the draft that I called 3 months ago?
Oh, yeah, you said Xavier Likely, right?
I said, you're talking about the Bears and everyone with the lottery pick, and they're picking like Caleb Williams and all this,
Talking about
while
the Chiefs.
the fucking Chiefs are flying under the radar. Don't need much, but they always make great picks to complement their quarterback and their tight end and everyone. And who makes it to the Chiefs? By the way, the Bills gave up the same way the Bills gave up Patrick Mahomes that the Chiefs were able to take. Xavier Worthy, one of the best receivers
Worthy, yeah.
in
I was thinking
this
of Isaiah
draft,
Likely.
that ran a 4.240, made it to Kansas City, that the Bills gave up again.
The Bills are one of the worst run franchises in the NFL. They aren't the worst, but they are one of the worst.
The Chiefs are always getting these guys that just slip through the cracks, and the Chiefs are going to be back on top again because they get these players that no one's looking at.
I want to go through because there's a fun draft story. It's a little bit of a winding road, but I love this story. And this is something I saw on Twitter. Braxton's putting it down because he knows the next 5 minutes are going to be taken
Turn
up by
off
me.
the lights like the grandfather thing.
The Chiefs were picking at 2018 and 2016 with an interest in Paxton Lynch. But the Broncos, however, traded up to take Paxton Lynch. Denver gave up 31 and 94 in that trade. So the Chiefs would have had a third-round pick to offer in the trade for Lynch, but the NFL took it away from tampering over Jeremy Maclin. Okay, follow me on this one. So Lynch's agent confirmed this the other day that the Chiefs and the Cowboys were the other two teams that wanted to move up. As a result, Kansas City traded out of 28 and down to 37. With that, they selected Chris Jones. The next year, still looking for a quarterback, the Chiefs traded up from 27 to 10. That pick was Patrick Mahomes. So that went from Kansas City having interest in Paxton Lynch to ending up with both Chris Jones and Patrick Mahomes a year later. Incredible to not get Patrick Lynch or Paxton Lynch
Braxton.
and end up with Patrick Mahomes and Chris Jones.
All these teams are making all these moves, paying people a shit ton of money, and the Chiefs just fly under the radar and make it to the Super Bowl every fucking year.
Even when they tamper, they win.
Gives a
Even
shit.
when they tamper,
Win
they
at all
win.
costs. Ever heard of it? Of course you have.
Even when they tamper, they win. A couple of other news and notes within the NFL. We are very quickly. So we usually record on a Monday or a Tuesday. On a Wednesday is when you had Reggie Bush's Heisman Trophy reinstated very early on. So I wanted to get your quick thoughts. That's something that we've talked about in the past, wanting that to happen. It makes total sense for it
Well,
to happen.
there's no way it should have been taken away anyway. But I think it's funny that Johnny Manziel is getting a lot of credit for it, because during the Shannon Sharp interview that he did, he's saying I'm not gonna step foot in a Heisman presentation on stage until Reggie gets his trophy back. So he's being credited for Reggie getting it back. But it's like,
White savior.
maybe he helped by saying something on his platform, but it's the NIL that made the NCAA give it
that's
back.
true.
And years of overwhelming pressure from the public.
Yeah, I mean, there's been years and years where the Heisman would not even entertain conversations with Reggie Bush, and then NIL comes along, and then it's like, oh, okay, yeah, we're.
But like, how
Reggie-
has no one threatened the fucking Heisman committee? You really want to dig up shit? You want to dig up old news or dirt? Because I guarantee you'll take away everyone's fucking trophy if we're digging up
Yeah.
news. You tell me not a single one has taken a cent from someone?
Marcus Mariota.
Dude, he's number one. He's taking
Cam
Masui's.
Newton.
Yeah. No, well, Cam Newton is absolutely taking money. Marcus Mariota is clean as a whistle. I don't even know if that's
The
the
thing
right
is that
analogy.
Reggie Bush, like, he seems like such a humble, kind, just endearing dude too. Like, just where he seems like he's been at peace with where he's at in life.
Potentially.
And
That's what happens when you date a Kardashian. Like, it really brings you down to a different level after you're done with it.
It's
It
true. He-
humbles you. Yeah, it really humbles you.
I like Reggie Bush, and
I like Bush.
it's long overdue. And he was the greatest college player to ever play the game.
In my generation, there's nobody better and no one that got me to watch college football more
He
than
was
Reggie
so
Bush.
fun to watch
I love Adrian Peterson, but I don't even put Adrian Peterson
on the level of
on
Reggie
the level
Bush.
of Reggie.
Electric.
No, Reggie Bush just
What about-
electric. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
about Young?
Vince Young?
Vince Young.
I like Vince Young. Reggie Bush was like, it was something different.
You
Like,
held your breath every
You looked
time.
forward to these games, and he was gonna do. There are people like Vince Young and Dwayne Jarrett and some of those receivers from USC that they were really, really fucking good, and you're like that. I'm gonna expect like 200 yards and 8 receptions, but there was something about watching Reggie Bush. It's like, hold on to your fucking seat because you don't know what's gonna happen in this game.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You know, is he going for 1,000 all-purpose yards? Is he gonna make somebody miss? That you're gonna watch on SportsCenter every fucking replay.
It was getting it done with the handoffs, with the screens, with a long pass. It was open
Wheel
field.
route.
It was hitting the hole. It was making dudes miss. It was breaking tackles. It was everything. It was like he epitomized just what a workhorse player would.
You know how some people think it's crazy that the boom of like video games like Madden became an ESPN show where you're watching people play video games. That's what it felt like watching Reggie Bush. Was watching
human
somebody
highlight
play
reel.
video games, and you're just watching a highlight reel for 4 quarters.
99
highlight.
speed, 99 catch,
Yeah.
and 99, just a 99 overall going against
everything.
everyone.
Yeah, for sure. And I wonder too. I know that obviously we are not getting Reggie Bush nowadays, but we will get more of other NFL players. With Roger Goodell talking about how he wants to have an 18-game schedule, which obviously that's been long prognosticated, something that we agree with, I assume, on this podcast, where you would extend it off into the next week, President's Day, which would be a 3-day weekend, but then also with the potential of making sure that your Thursday night football games were like mini buys, so that then these guys were not playing 2 games in 5 days, that each of their additional buys would be sandwiched in between to give you potentially 10 days off.
So his idea helps the Super Bowl. It
Yes.
benefits us.
It benefits us.
Then yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all you.
One
need.
all
topic
you
that I'm surprised hasn't come up yet is the pads over the helmet, the safety thing.
So
over
I
the
don't.
helmet.
I think that's something that actually they talked about, and I don't think it's in
It
college.
just got
It just got approved for the NFL.
Right, yeah, so that they can wear the Guardian helmets.
Not during games.
During
Yes,
games.
During games.
They just
I
approved
thought it was
that.
just practice.
During games.
That
games.
players individually will have the option whether or not they want to wear the Guardian
It
helmet.
means that we're gonna have this in the next 10 years. It will be mandatory that they have the Guardian. I promise you, within the next 10 years, those Guardian helmets will be the norm. I promise you that.
Check back in 10 years, and it just makes sense.
For all you
Tune in.
listeners across
Tune in.
11 countries.
I don't know. Do we have a
18.
problem with that?
19.
I don't have a problem with it. I actually don't have a problem with it.
I think the only people that would have a problem with it would be the same people that are like that. It's kind of a selfish take to like be resistant to change, but overall, it's about the player's safety. So if we can eliminate some of those season-ending or fucking life-threatening injuries,
Yeah.
why not?
Who gives a
It looks
fuck?
different.
people miss the helmets is what is going to happen. And
Who gives a
what's
fuck?
fun? What's weird though about it is if you can do that Guardian helmet, how has there not been a way to put that technology within a helmet? You know what I mean? Why does it have to be over? I just don't quite.
You think about just like the big. I guess.
Like,
in a way.
it just
Would you
has
rather
have
the
we
pad
been
be in or out?
have we been conditioned by the big, the big caps that you see at all these
guys wearing big caps
big
around.
caps around preconditioned us for the Guardian helmets in the NFL.
Could you imagine you could throw some extra Wi-Fi in there, make sure everyone's got the Wi-Fi too? They would be so big you could fit so much technology in those things.
It's really only fixing one injury, which is the concussion.
Sure.
You're
But
not
you still have ACL.
You're not fixing like a neck whiplash. You know what I mean? Like what happened to some of those guys getting pulled from the back.
They added that as a penalty this
They
year.
added those rules for
Yeah.
the what I don't know what kind of tackle they call it, but it was the one where they just the hip drop.
The hip drop. Yeah.
Yep.
Squidward tackle.
The squid drop. Awkwardly, Zeke coming back to the Cowboys after a year hiatus with the Patriots. They had paid out some of his contract, so they are going to be double paying him still, even from his old contract, to be able to go there, and signs a 1-year, $3 million deal. Was already getting paid $6 million for this upcoming year.
The Cowboys are double paying him.
They're double paying him. Not only are they double paying him, they're double paying him the amount that they could have gotten Derrick Henry for, but they thought that Derrick Henry was too expensive. So now they are double paying Zeke the exact amount that Derrick Henry is
I
getting
remember the year before when Zeke was on the Cowboys and he got injured and Tony Pollard had to take over the full-time duty. There was an interview at
Duty.
Yeah.
Duty.
I was gonna say it.
Pollard was talking about it because everyone was like really high on Tony Pollard about like, oh, he should be the main guy and get more of the reps. But Pollard after a game was like, it's a lot different being the guy that's getting 18, 20 carries a game.
Pollard proved that he's a great
Can't
RB2.
handle it.
He is not a good RB1.
Pollard can't get more than 8 to 13 carries a game.
Too much hard work.
I mean, he's violent.
The Cowboys have the worst running back room this upcoming season. It's Zeke, Royce Freeman, and Rico Dowdle,
Suave.
the young guy. They have the worst running back room in the entire league.
I can't necessarily. I don't know every running back room, but it doesn't sound great. Doesn't sound
Royce
great.
Freeman's going to be an all-star.
Who's in the Broncos
Pro
room?
Bowler.
2014.
All-star. There's not even all-stars in the
Who's
NFL.
in the Chargers running back room?
Don't worry about it.
Hey, chill out.
Who's in the Chargers running back room?
I don't know. We should.
I don't know.
The Chargers are gonna suck balls.
But at
man.
least they got a lineman. So
At least.
They got one guy protecting Herbert.
Is this going to be the one podcast that we do when I actually watch the NBA and we're not going to talk about it?
no, we're talking about it very, very shortly.
we're gonna he's gonna trim a lot down. I can tell.
Go ahead.
I hope so.
All of Jordan's.
You don't like watching the NBA either? Because I think the NBA is the most unwatchable professional sport there is.
Real quick before we jump to the NBA, it is just like the Chargers have done with many of their picks. They have hired or signed a bunch of Ravens.
Who are they? See if they're worse than the Cowboys.
J.K. Dobbins.
J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards both signed to the Chargers.
Cowboys still the worst. Cowboys still
are
the worst.
Yeah, Cowboys are worse.
No, if we do
J.K. Dobbins is good though.
well, when
If he stays
either of them
injured,
are
if he stays
healthy,
not
exactly.
injured,
If he stays
uninjured.
If we do want to transition to the NBA, you have both the Lakers and the Suns losing. Obviously, you have other
No one.
teams losing, but these are the ones we want.
I don't understand why people love to see LeBron lose so much.
Ask the guy to your right.
I love seeing him lose.
Why?
Because I
Why-
hate
like
him.
why?
Because
He's
I-
too outspoken.
Because I hate him.
He's too outspoken.
Because
It's
I
the
hate
same
him.
reason that
I don't
people.
need to justify
I've
this
never
because
seen.
everyone
I've never
has this
seen a
opinion.
guy have such a good career and be so just hated, universally hated by people.
Let's
Seriously?
I
Like
mean,
are you confused why people hate him? Because
I mean, I think a
It's
lot of guys
not-
in the NBA are just boneheads, but LeBron is no exception. But you can't deny his greatness.
no, you can't deny his greatness, but you can still hate him. That's the thing.
But
like-
people actually like hate him and slander him like he's not really as good as he is, and like everyone wants to see him lose.
I don't. Well, I do want to see him lose. I think he's great. I think he's not as good as Michael Jordan. I also think that like when you look up and down at his career and how he has manufactured his way from place to place to place, acts like he's not there. He's just own. For me, it's just about owning who you are. Owning that you know everything that's going on, owning that you were the puppet master, owning all of those things, but then also the side of things where you go, okay, like you are fighting every day to make people think that you're better than someone. Just play and prove it versus like trying to be something other than trying to beat Michael Jordan, because no one's going to think that. And
So you're saying,
the
you're saying
fact
you
that
hate
he
LeBron
fights
because
it.
he wants to be claimed as the GOAT, and he genuinely thinks he is, and he's trying to prove that he's
1,000%.
better. Okay.
You
like
don't,
how
you don't
great,
necessarily-
like some of the great players let other people say it.
Yes.
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 He's
yes,
like,
yes,
I'm great.
Like, and I think that like so many people, like I don't see, and we're looking at, and here's the thing, people think that this person is his love child, Anthony
Davis or
Richardson. Which one is it?
Edwards.
Edwards. Damn it, because we've got the quarterback and we've got the guy.
Richardson.
So Anthony Edwards, Edwards on the Timberwolves, who is just kind of allowing everyone to have that opinion of him, and also it's like this guy looks exactly like Michael Jordan. This might be his love child. Could be. Who knows? But that's kind of the thing. Allow other people to do that work for you. He does so much of that work himself. Anyways, the Lakers lose.
He's also had that platform since he was 18. So
Yeah.
I'm just
in a social media world, and I get that
I'm
the
respecting
circumstances
his
change.
body of work more than I think he gets more slandered.
I'm not gonna be.
I'm not trying to defend him, but
I'm inclined to defend him against people like Peter, just because it's Peter. But
Look at him.
I do understand people's dislike of LeBron because he is that guy that, the flopping and the doing too much. Social media, all that shit.
Performative.
It's some of this shit that I don't like Kevin Durant for, but LeBron does more of it. However, there's so many things that it's just like in anything. If you like him, you find reasons why you like him, and if you don't like him, you find reasons why you don't.
Oh, and I find
no
every
one
reason.
has lived up to unfair expectations since he was 17 coming into the league. That pressure and that spotlight is fucking unfair. That kills a lot of people's careers. You've seen it with Johnny Manziel. You've seen it with a lot of people. LeBron not only lived up to it, exceeded it, has never gotten in trouble outside of the
he's
league.
never been caught cheating.
Has done, yeah.
Which he's
no
fucking
gambling,
cheating
no
as well.
cheating,
Yeah.
no adultery, no nothing.
Exactly. It's like he
Done a
knows
lot of
he's doing
charity work and all this stuff.
Strong NDAs.
But
it. Yes.
it's like it's like he had to do something for people to dislike him, because would it be possible to just fucking praise somebody like that if he didn't do the things that you didn't like him for? Like, he would be the most likable person in the world, and I don't think that's possible. So I feel like subconsciously he just had to do these things to make people not like him, because he's flawless. Technically, he hasn't done anything bad.
What's his record with the public is flaw. Yes,
He hasn't done a fucking thing.
Well,
It's wild.
And one thing that I saw recently is LeBron's been in the league 21 years. There is a very small group of players who have been, and before I say this, I want to say that I am very neutral on LeBron. I don't love him. I don't hate him. Could care less.
Same.
Obviously. But there's very few players that have been in the league for 21 years, including the likes of Vince Carter, Dirk Nowitzki. I think there's about 6 of them who have been in the league that long. Michael Jordan is not one of them. I want to make that clear.
Yeah.
Yep.
LeBron has played like 500 more games than Michael ever did.
Exactly. The amount of the production that he has this year in his 21st year is more than all of those other players combined.
That's a really good point, Braxton.
He's still playing basketball at a very high level. Yes.
And I
At
watched
one of the highest levels
and
in the world.
I watched the Denver Los Angeles game recently, the last 2 of them. And to see him still be able to do these chase down blocks, to do all these things that were very reminiscent of
2010 LeBron
exactly.
in Miami.
He's an ageless wonder.
You cannot deny, no matter how much you hate him, that, it's almost like watching Tom Brady in his later years. Even if you fucking hate him for how much he's won and how good he is, which you do, Peter, you cannot deny that we are watching one of the greatest players of all time do it at an all-time level at an unspeakable age.
Okay, so yes, high level, very fast, explosive, and everything. But when you're comparing to like Tom Brady style, Tom Brady is the guy who leads you back and wins you championships. LeBron is the guy who pushes off on Aaron Gordon and then blows a wide open 3-pointer to win you a game. He's the guy who runs himself into the corner, who then forces him to give it up to somebody else who chucks a 3 at the end of the game.
No one's saying that
I don't think that
he's
on
not
that
clutch
he's not
player.
perfect.
He's not the clutch player. But
you're
he's
pointing out
still,
specific mistakes in a game.
I think that
saying that there's no clutch gene in
I
that
think
anymore.
that LeBron will arguably be the greatest athlete we've ever seen in our lifetime.
Yeah, and he's played through
also,
injuries.
the biggest joke you could have said, because you have absolutely no data to back this up, and I fucking guarantee you, once you go on your laptop, you're still not going to accept that you're wrong. To say that LeBron doesn't have the clutch gene, just look anything up. Game winners, fourth quarter comebacks. If he's not top 3 in anything, I'll pay you any amount of money you fucking want. That is so stupid to think that he is not clutch in anything. The guy is literally top 5 in all clutch stats throughout the league in the last 20 years.
I think that before we get into that, we would have to establish, are we talking about numbers of times or percentages of times? Because
all of the above.
All right. I would take that bet.
I don't. So, Miguel, I don't think of LeBron as I don't think of him as an all-time clutch player, but you bringing that up, I think I've seen stats on this, on how like his numbers actually prove me wrong. I just don't think of LeBron as the clutch guy, but it's also because he's always there.
I'm not going to take credit for this because, like Braxton said last week, I'm not that smart. I know that J.J. Redick looks shit up. This is where I got it from. So if you don't trust J.J. Redick, who's a nerd when it comes to these stats, then that's your call.
The fact that
Pete always trusts a white guy.
Right.
That's what I had to bring it.
I do love J.J. Redick. The fact that like the Lakers were able to spoil the way that they were, a 75. So they had AD for 75 games. You know the last time the AD has played a 75-game season?
New Orleans.
Never has he played 75 games in a season. And the fact that they were able to get 75 out of AD and the amount of games that they were
hard.
Exactly. With AD and LeBron and all that, to be a 7 seed and to then face the Nuggets once again and only win that one game. I mean, it's just like it's unfortunate for them, and it's going to cost Darvin Ham.
Here's
LeBron's
something.
also 40 years old. Like,
Why should that be an excuse? Are we excusing LeBron at this point? We were just talking about how great he was. Like, they should have performed better.
He's doing this in spite of being that old. I'm just saying, try not to forget this point, okay? The recency bias in pro sports is probably one of the strongest out there. Right now, Anthony Edwards is fucking killing it, and we forget the likes of Jason Tatum, some of those guys that we were talking about last season. The society, the generation we're in with social media gains more hate for somebody like LeBron. Don't forget that Jordan was hated during his time. If Jordan had social media, we would be talking about.
A lot of those guys have talked.
Oh my God!
When he went to baseball,
Jordan's a
how many
fucking
people
asshole.
would've roasted him.
People hated Michael Jordan, but the thing is, same with Jordan. Same thing that happened with Jordan. Same thing that happened with Kobe is the same thing that's going to happen with LeBron. You are not going to appreciate any of these guys until they are done playing.
Sure.
Until they're done playing. When LeBron is done, everyone is going to talk about how we miss having him in the league. It was different when he was in the league. No matter what stage of his career he was in, you're not going to appreciate him until he's done.
LeBron's been the face of basketball for over the past 20 years. Like, he's been the best player in basketball for how many years has he been? 21 years.
21
years. He's been the best player in basketball for 17, 16. 15 to 17 of those 21
Every
years.
one of those years. I will tell you this. I cannot wait until there is a year without LeBron or KD or Chris Paul.
Yeah, just
and
look
Harden
forward to Shai
and
Gilgeous-Alexander.
I am so ready for the new generation of players in Shai and Ant Edwards and that
Why?
type of player. I just
Why?
want to see the next generation. I'm so tired of these guys forcing their way from team to team to team and then saying, "Oh, well, what do you mean?
But
I'm a
Peter,
super
the
team in this, super
cycle
team
is
that."
never going to end. You're just going to find another LeBron to hate.
At least let's
Because-
reset the cycle because I've been dealing with it for the last 20 fucking years. All right, I'm ready for it to be done. I'm ready for the next thing, and I'm ready to hate someone else here.
Peter, I hate to say it, you're also going to be the guy that 10 years from now, when your son is grown up and
You think we'll be talking about the good old days?
maybe into basketball, you're going to be like, yeah, I was alive and I saw LeBron James. Because guess what?
There's no way I'm ever going to say that about LeBron.
Your son is not going to remember or even know about Michael Jordan. He's not
Correct,
even
yeah. He
gonna,
won't know.
He's going to think about LeBron. He's going to think about
Giannis.
Steph Curry. He's going to think about Giannis. And you're going to be like, oh, yeah, I watched him play some of the greatest basketball I've ever seen. And you can't deny that.
I would be more
That's the
apt to
root of
talk
what I'm
about
trying to get
Kobe
at.
than I would any of those other guys.
Yeah, but your son didn't see that.
Yeah.
Is what we're. You were talking about something else. You're talking about playoff basketball, and I derailed it with LeBron.
No, you derailed something?
No,
Well, that's
I
shocking.
know, very much a shocker.
Like Peter
But,
likes
okay.
to say, I want to tie a bow around this. We can move the fuck on.
I will tie a bow on this. Does
Here-
Darvin Ham lose his job?
No.
Yes.
I think he does too.
And
And
he
it's
has to get a
Do you,
name
do you
change.
know who he coaches for?
And I think that especially because LeBron has talked about maybe not getting exercising his player option of $51 million. He might not come back.
If you're a Lakers coach and you get pretty much swept, I know you won one game, but they were never going to win that series. If you get bounced in the first round, you're a Lakers coach, you have AD and LeBron, you're in the hot seat.
Yeah, and you
No
have
matter
Magic Johnson who's tweeting about you saying that
No matter
change
if
needs
it's
to
your
be
first
made.
or second season, the problem with the Lakers is this. They are not willing to pay money for a top-tier coach. They're not. They've had better coaches available, but they're not willing to pay for them. Whatever fucking Budenholzer was available. He's better
Right.
coach than Darvin Ham. They were not willing to pay
How
for
did
him.
Budenholzer lose his job?
Because
drugs.
it was a grass is greener situation. And again, they get rid of Frank Vogel, and Frank Vogel himself finds himself on the hot seat. And I would like to say grass isn't always greener. They bring in Darvin Ham. That doesn't work out after getting rid of your championship, the only one that LeBron has gotten with the Lakers. Then Vogel goes to the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns get blown out of the water. They get swept. And not only that, but the Suns are in a position where they owe almost $500 million to their big three. And $209 million is committed just next year. And they own none of their first rounders until 2031.
They went all in to win now.
Insane.
And they are.
And you might say that this is
I
a biased
fucking hate
take because I
Devin
prefer the
Booker.
Lakers to win. As disappointing as it is for Lakers with their healthy stars to lose 3-1 or 4-1 against the Nuggets, it's way more disappointing to see what the Suns fucking accomplished.
Yes,
It's true.
Yes.
I mean,
It's the use of
you
Nurkic
pulled
effect.
Bradley Beal. You have a fucking prime Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, who hasn't declined. I mean, he averaged 28 this season.
I do
To
not
not
like
do
Devin
anything
Booker.
with that, and I said this before, and this is absolutely biased because I'm the only one in the world that likes this guy. Who was the killer for the Suns in the regular season? Grayson
Grayson
fucking Allen. He was one of the best players in the fucking league. He hasn't played a single playoff game because he's hurt. Could things have been different? Maybe. That guy dropped 40 multiple times. And he did, what was the stat that you love? Like the 50, 40, 90?
Yeah.
He's the guy this season.
I can't remember which player it was. It might have even been Grayson Allen, where they were looking up and down, and this was Ant, Edwards, and Cat. They were looking at the box score and go, "Oh, this guy didn't even play." They're like, "Well, that's not our problem to worry about." It might have been Grayson Allen that they were talking about.
He was pretty good this season.
But
But you meant Cat was like, is this the guy that we're not going to have to
oh
guard?
my God, he didn't play. But yes, so again, in Braxton, you were talking about the amount of basketball you played or watch. I wasn't sure if this was a series that you were also very entrenched in as well. But I mean, again, you invest yourself into your big three. You've got no depth, and then you get to the playoffs, and you go, well, maybe it would make sense to have yourselves maybe a little bit more depth here. And I'm curious, just like overall, and this is for the group as well, just like what does Phoenix do from here? Because like Frank Vogel, and whether or not there were reports of him blowing up at the team, and whether or not he finds his way out, it's just madness.
Go ahead. I have your take. I have a take after you.
No, I agree, and I think that the Suns are kind of at that point where they have to reset.
And how do they reset? By getting rid of KD?
Honestly,
Because Bradley Beal has a no trade clause that he refuses to waive.
and if I'm KD right now and I see, I'm seeing the end of my career in the headlights,
In Phoenix.
and Phoenix isn't going to do it for me, and then all of a sudden you think to yourself, if I'm KD, how do I end on a positive note?
In Miami.
What? Well, where did I start?
Oh, is that where you're thinking?
There's
They've got picks.
There's a young team who's playing very well,
Who needs that superstar?
who needs that superstar to kind of anchor the team. They have the cap space.
They've got the picks.
They've got the picks. Why not?
Talk
Why
about
don't
full
I
circle.
just ride out into the sunset, may possibly win a championship
Does KD suffocate
with
that
the
roster,
Oklahoma City
I
Thunder?
first of all, I want to say your takes on basketball, I fucking love tonight. Okay?
Yeah, I like
That's
I
what
love
I'm here
Thank
for,
you for
baby.
paying attention to basketball because I love it. Your Martin Scorsese movie line with KD coming back to OKC, I could not fucking disagree more.
Psych you up.
The Suns blowing up, I could
Build 'em
not
up, tear 'em
disagree more.
down.
OKC is succeeding because of the way that they're playing and the chemistry of those young guys, and Shea being an up-and-coming superstar. KD would disrupt
That's
the
what I'm
fuck out of that chemistry that they have. Also, I think people are overreacting when they look at Phoenix and say, we need to blow this shit up because it didn't work for a season. No, you don't blow this shit up. I understand you made moves to win now, but it's so clear and obvious what they were missing. You don't blow up that roster. You need a point guard. You need
Don't say center. They got rid of DeAndre.
You need a
Ayton.
point guard, and you need somebody better than Nurkic. And Grayson Allen didn't even play, which is a great six-man for the playoffs. If you have some of those guys healthy, you have a point guard that's not. Bradley Beal has never been a fucking point guard.
He is a shooting guard.
He's not supposed to play point. Get a point guard. Get somebody like a Mike Conley. Somebody that could run your offense.
Just beat them in Minnesota.
Yeah. Mike Conley is such a great compliment to Ant and Cat and Gobert. Gobert is the most overrated fucker in the league. Somehow, he's getting numbers because he has people like Conley and all those guys, and that roster works well together. Phoenix needs a point guard, and they need somebody better than Nurkic. You get a serviceable center, a serviceable point guard, in that roster where you don't make Bradley Beal play point and great bench that they have, they're fine.
It's
they're
as
going
if
to be
they
fine.
had one
Would
of
you
those
think
guys
that
who
Chris-
always gets hurt.
Chris
right
Paul?
No, I'm
right
not talking
around
about
that
Chris
time.
Paul.
Yeah,
I'm
the
not
guy
talking
who, I mean, he took up a lot of cap space, and
But I would consider him a serviceable
Nurkic
point
is a
guard.
bitch.
But did they play, like, was Kevin Durant on that team?
no,
Yes.
no,
Never.
he never played.
They never played. I'm talking with Kevin Durant on the team,
Okay.
which is first season. You need a point guard, and I'm not talking about Chris Paul. He's done. Somebody else that could play point for Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker, they're going to be fine.
I think at this point, when you're looking at your long-term
you
future, and KD is the biggest thing that you dangle out there, you send him on his way to whether it be Miami or otherwise, you get he is just a walking 5-pick trade, right? And so for me, as the guy who loves to blow up any situation, as evidenced by all of my takes, I think you get rid of KD because there are some teams that are in absolute purgatory hell to be able to not trade these things, right? They have the ability to rewrite their wrongs, and they're not. How are you going to get your depth? How are you going to get that point guard? You draft what, a rookie? You draft some sort of rando? You bring Rajon Rondo out of retirement? What do you do? Like, I mean, so, and you're at $209 million. You can't afford shit. You can't afford anything without being so far deep in the luxury tax. And you go, this didn't work. I know this didn't work. Am I going to do that again? Am I going to drive myself even further and pay all this extra money just for that? For a first-round exit where I couldn't even win a playoff game? Come on.
So here's a real question. Who wins the NBA Finals this year?
Thank
Celtics.
you, Jordan. The Celtics are as
I
dominant.
believe it's
going
going to be a Western Conference team.
He still does. These two have a
Do you
bet.
think that the Nuggets do it back to back?
Yeah, I think
Because I think the Nuggets are the team that is poised to make a deep playoff run, and if they get to the finals, I don't see anyone. I don't see the Celtics beating them.
here's
Because no one can stop Jokic, and no one can. And Murray is just so clutch.
Here's what I
So
think
good.
about Denver. And I stand by my bet against Braxton. He thinks the Celtics will win it all. And there's a part of me that, like, if they did, Jason Tatum wins a championship. I've always loved Jason
It's a
Tatum.
win-win for you.
That's awesome. But it's still the Celtics. I don't like the Celtics. I still firmly
Lakers,
believe
yeah.
that a Western Conference team will win. You've seen some of these top seeds, like OKC looks tough even though they're young. Minnesota looks
to give
fucking
Denver a run.
tough. But Denver, there is a fear that Denver instills in every fucking team.
Because Jokic has those dead eyes.
You saw it on game 1 against the Lakers, and I'm like, Lakers not beating them. There's no fucking way. The Nuggets could be down 16, and then they're like, okay, let's get Jamal Murray to go off. Let's get fucking feed Jokic in the post.
Let's get Michael Porter Jr. hitting a clutch
Teams
to
like
rewrite it.
teams
again,
like
you
fold.
know?
Do you see like teams fold up when the Nuggets are making a run? You see them kind of like just not
Kinda
running
like-
their sets, and they kind of are running scared, and they're all over the place. I feel like they have that effect on every fucking team they play.
Yeah.
Especially in the 7-game series.
And we saw that in the closeout game where, you know, you've got 6-7 minutes to go, and they are just heavyweight fight back and forth, and you're in Denver. They've talked about the altitude and being able to win the game in the trenches there as well. where you can use that to your advantage. And the Lakers, I mean, that was just bad game management where they had no timeouts and they had to cover. They just were gassed at the end of it.
I like that you use that analogy that when you play Denver, it's a heavyweight fight because I don't think there's anything. I'm not trying to glaze you right now, but that's really what it is. Because do you see OKC winning a 7-game series against Denver? I don't. I see Minnesota giving Denver a run, but I don't see them really winning it in that game 6, that game 7 where it really counts.
Yeah,
right?
because they also have Murray, they've got Jokic. They don't know who's is Jokic gonna be the guy setting the screen, or is he gonna be the guy to roll off and then burn down?
Yeah, it's a matchup nightmare.
Now when you get to the finals though, it really is just kind of a crapshoot. So if it's the Celtics and the Nuggets, I toss it up, but I
comes
give
down
the edge
to
the
depth.
Nuggets.
Here's what Denver.
And Porzingis being hurt now.
Here's what Denver has too. Denver has what every championship team in the NBA has had. They had it last year. They had it the year before. They have when you say that you need depth and you need bench, you're not looking necessarily for guys that can come off and score 14 or 15 and grab rebounds and steals.
Horry.
You need energy guys. And they have energy guys. Christian Brown, KCP. I know he starts.
Of all people,
Reggie
right?
Jackson. They got energy guys that when they're on the floor, they don't lose the lead.
Yeah.
They don't lose the fucking lead because they D up. Now, if it becomes Denver versus Boston, losing Porzingis is huge.
Yeah.
Because that's a big piece that they picked up this year.
And who knows for how long, but it wasn't. It was a non-contact calf injury that looked like it could have been an Achilles.
But if it's Denver versus Boston, I could not be more confident in Denver because as much as I love Jason Tatum, he is easily frustrated. And Denver has the pieces to frustrate the fuck out of him in a 7-game series.
They play good D.
They're scrappy
and their
as
superstar is a fucking thick ass, nearly 7 footer.
He could fit on this couch.
Yeah, that's a reach.
He might. Yeah.
It's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah, we've got just a couple minutes left before we are kicked off. Not just
All right, no money. Denver, Minnesota, go. Who wins the series?
I'm going to say Denver, and I'll say probably relatively easily. The Chris Finch injury is a little interesting.
The coach?
Their coach gets tangled up with Mike Conley. He injures his
fucked
knee.
up.
So he's going to have to undergo surgery. They're going to be without their head coach because it's not as if he gets surgery, he can come back. He can't be on the front line of the bench.
Denver and 4. Excuse me, 5. Denver and 5.
So
after you just said Minnesota could give them a run.
I didn't know that they didn't have a coach because I don't really.
I'll
go Soda.
Coach. You got Minnesota.
I think
Denver said no money. I want to put money.
I think Denver wins in 6.
I'll even give you odds.
I wouldn't be
wouldn't have
surprised
gone
if it goes
Soda.
7, but I go Denver in 6. Minnesota's tough, dude.
They are.
Anthony Edwards is fucking tough.
And you know who's always
And
there?
they have-
Mike fucking Conley's always right there.
Mike
with
Conley's
them.
there, and then you got Cat and Gobert. That's a lot.
And
That's a
sometimes
lot for
when you hear
Jokic. That could be a lot for Jokic.
It's a little bit of a matchup
When you hear
nightmare.
Cat's voice, you just want to get off the floor because he's going, "Oh my god, outlet, outlet, outlet,
Foul, foul,
ball,
foul.
ball, 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 ball."
Jesus.
Him and Caleb Williams would be a good combo.
Because he
That's
paints
true.
his nails.
No, he also just sounds like that.
Oh, whatever, dude.
Let's see. We will know. Let's see. By the time this comes out, we'll probably have second round matchups already decided. But it looks like the Bucks
So
are gonna.
this is all for naught.
No. I'm just saying I don't necessarily want to talk about the Bucks who are currently blowing out the Pacers or talking about where the Knicks close out the 76ers.
We've already talked about how
and they-
the Dame pickup was an absolute failure.
Yeah.
So there's no
So
need,
there's
need to
that
rehash
aspect.
that.
They gave the Celtics another conference final.
You just picked up another
Blazers
guy who
did.
hogs the ball who doesn't play D. So it's
Exactly.
not going to do anything.
Oh shit! Cavs lead by 1.
Yeah,
They won.
There you go. They did win by 1.
Oh.
They won by 1.
The shocking part is the Bucks are up against the Pacers without Dame and Giannis.
Yeah.
Is Dame out for the series?
I mean, he's got some sort of an Achilles issue.
He's got divorce court.
He does. He
Night court.
very much. I think he's dating a female rapper, and he's also
Oh,
dealing with
Glorilla.
Glorilla. And
Wait,
then,
they're dating?
I think so, or at least fucking.
What?
Who knows?
She just said that she wanted to fuck him.
I think they did.
I'm sure.
I think that his ex is like all up in her
Kayla's
business.
all about it.
Kayla's she's
Like this.
Oh no,
Okay.
that's
Easy
permanently
now.
his.
Oh, you know
microphone.
that Dame and Kayla Lillard were still smashing for all that time they're going through a divorce.
Yeah, probably, and they probably still are. Why not?
Why not?
Mom of his children.
Yeah.
When they're done that.
Like if Peter had a chance to fuck LeBron, he would. You know he would.
Would not do that. Pass. Would pass.
Peter, $50 million. LeBron fucks you in the ass for 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Okay,
do
what
that.
NBA player's wife would you
Done.
want to rail? And the NBA player
Tune in
knows
next
about it
week
and
for
wants
the
to kill
answer
you.
to that question. Jesus Christ.
Listen, you are saying $50 million for literally anything. I would let. I'm not gonna say yes. I would. I would.
Let's get out of here.
Let's
We
put a
can't do
bow
that.
on that. Pete.
Yeah, let's go ahead and put a bow. And Jordan, welcome to It Just Makes Sense. Jordan's joining us tonight.
Yeah.
Clear eyes.
I'll give it to him. Go ahead, Joe.
Oh, hi!
Can't lose.
Football